I'm Steve Leidholm from Washburn, North Dakota, and I've been farming for about 32 years. The way I got into farming was my brother was farming with my dad, and I was in the Navy at the time and getting ready to get out, and he called up, said that he was established enough that I could come in, and I said, well, after the Navy I'm going to finish my degree first. And so I did. I went to UND and I finished the degree, then came back to farm, which was 1991. Just up north here, a couple miles, I bought a half section of land a few years ago, well, 15 years ago, and it had a farmyard in it. So I tore down the buildings and broke up the land, and there were so many rocks that were, the size of a basketball that you couldn't use a regular rock picker to get them. So my two young kids that were, probably 8 and 10 at the time, we went up there with a loader tractor and they helped me. I'd drive the tractor forward and we'd all throw rocks in the bucket. After we got done, after 3 evenings, I think we spent up there picking rocks by hand, and we were walking through the farmyard and my son goes, "What's that yellow thing for over there?" And I said, "That's a rock picker." And he goes, "You mean to tell me that we have a machine to do all that stuff?" But yeah, I had a lot of fun with the kids when we were doing stuff like that. Well, I farmed with my dad and my brother for quite a while, and then my dad retired back in '98, and my brother and I kept farming. And after he retired, I picked up some of that farmland and went out on my own for the last 3 years. It's been a lot different not having that person that I farmed with for how many years, standing in the shop every morning to discuss things with. Luckily, I did have a good hired man and a few other things, but I could always call him if I needed. But it was definitely different, I do know that much. So when my brother and I farmed together, I had some machinery, he had some machinery, like I owned the tractor for the drill, or for the planter, and he had the planter. When he retired, I had to replace all that stuff. So I, get my own planter, my own tractor, my own sprayer, and I did most of that through auction sales. I did buy a few pieces direct, but some of it was through auction sales. And so I've always been an auction sale fan. Bought a lot of stuff over the years. The maintenance program, we don't have a huge shop, so we do some of the smaller stuff in the shop during the winter. The small tractors, if a pickup needs an oil change. Everything else has to be done in front of the shop. And I go to RDO, which is about 7 miles away, and I take the equipment in there. I get inspections done, and if there's something that I can't handle, RDO does all the work in Washburn. And I do some of the smaller stuff that I can handle and that I have time for. And other than that, RDO does most of it. Again, the large part of how your equipment looks comes from constantly keeping it in a decent shape. If you let things start to slide, pretty soon they've slid so far that it's really hard to get it back to where it should be. So consistent maintenance program is a really big thing. So most of my stuff is going to be from the last 10, 12 years. My bigger, better machinery is all since like the 2010 and forward. Yeah, there's a 2014 9560 RT. It's got a little over 4,000 hours on it. I did put new tracks on this spring because we were going to be really muddy here because of the big snow last year. So the tracks are used very little. Probably 300 hours total on them, well maintained. And then the next one would be 4830 sprayer. It doesn't have the regular John Deere booms. It has 120-foot aluminum Boyd booms on it. I really like that extra distance. The 2012 8285R tractor, great tractor, really clean. Basically, almost all that's done since I bought it was run that planter. We don't have much else that it can do. I have a 2019 S790 combine. I put 100 bushel hopper extensions on it, so it's a 500 bushel hopper. Duals, there's 1,365 engine hours and 802 rotor hours. Really nice combine. It's the variable speed rotor, which when I bought it, I didn't know if I was going to really like that or not because it's different than most of the combine rotor systems. But after this harvest, I'm really happy with it. The biggest lesson, never plan out the whole day because it's not going to go the way you wanted in the morning anyway. You got to be willing to be flexible. Everything is going to change during the day, and you're never going to have one day that just goes perfectly like you want. But just go with the flow.